Well, I think I got everything. Well, hello there, friends and family. So good to see you again. And I know it's been a while, but really haven't been feeling up to doing a video. Really didn't know how to approach it. And then I've had some complications from the biopsy that have been weighing me down. And those things are, the biopsy took way more out of me than I thought it would. I thought it would be a few days. Then you get to reading, it could be 2 to 4 weeks. Well, here I am on 2 weeks, and I'm still not feeling as fine as I was. But on top of all that, I've developed a UTI. And that's a urinary tract infection, and it's been rather severe. They gave me the first round of antibiotics. They thought that would take care of it, but it didn't. And I'm going to have to get some more and talk to my doctor Monday to get some more antibiotics to continue treating a rather severe UTI. So yeah, the UTI sort of takes all the strength out of you too, along with getting over the biopsy. And then of course, what you're here for is what were the results. But as you see, we're in Alice, and if you'd like to come along, take a ride and find out the results, you're more than welcome to. Y'all just jump in, buckle up. We'll take a ride out in the countryside, because that's really all I feel up to. It's been raining today, so that's why we're not on the front porch. It's humid, not so hot. But here again, with the COPD and everything else going on, I just don't feel up to that either. I'd rather take a ride in the air conditioning with the car. So come on in. Jump on in. No bickering and fighting like usual. And there's always room in the rumble seat, aka the trunk. So we're going to put Alice in gear and get this ride going on. And something else has cropped up. It just makes it all the better with everything else that's going on, is my beloved Spooky, my big black cat that stays out in the yard. He's feral. He hurt his right leg yesterday somehow, and he don't want to put no weight on it. And I've checked them all out, and it doesn't appear to be broken and that. And of course, by the time I found it, the vet was closed. So I'll be taking Spooky in to see the vet on Monday, or as soon as I can get an appointment. Yep, we'll take care of Spooky. There's no doubt about that. He's my big bud. That's just thrown in on the mix of everything else that's been going on. So I thought it'd be best to just do a ride, relax me some, get me out of the house. And in all truth, except for my follow-up appointment and to pick up a few things, I haven't left the house. I haven't done any planting, because that just wasn't in me with the heat that we've had and the humidity. I wanted to. My mind said yes, but my body said no. It didn't want to go there. So I've just been taking it easy, and of course that just means I'm behind her more as I go. But in time, I'm sure we'll get it all caught up and it'll be okay. Or at least that's the plan, as they say. But like always, this time of year, it's nice and green out here. Do you see that Formosa tree over there just to the right of center, next to the fire hydrant, all in bloom? Those pretty pinkish blooms they have. They're so dainty, but so nice. So yeah, I went to the doctor on the 21st, my urologist. And you always hope and pray for the best. Yes, you do. And I did such, and I know so many of you did too. And we really do want to thank you, and we really appreciate it a lot. But like I said in the previous video, sometimes the path that's laid before you is not the path that you would wish or pray for. Now the reasons for that, who knows? You see, one thing I've learned through life is I do not ever question God. Nope. He's got the plan. He knows where it's all going. And I mean, there's a reason for why all things come to pass. So that's where I'm at with all of this. So I arrived at my doctor's office at about 9:45, which was 45 minutes early, but with traffic and everything and how long a distance I got to drive, that's just wise to set out and give yourself some time. There has been an occasion or two when that really wasn't enough time either, even though I thought it would be. So yeah, I waited there for 45 minutes. My appointment came, and I had to wait another 45 more before we got in to see him. And unlike the time before, I was hoping not to sit in the examination room for another 30 or 45 minutes, which, as luck would have it, I didn't have to. Nope. We didn't have to sit there. He came on in, he was all cheery and bouncy and of good spirits. And he sat down on his stool by the examination table. I was sitting in a chair. And of course he had his personal assistant with him. And she was all smiling and cheerful too. And that's a good thing, because when you're dealing with the issues that a urologist deals with, and he's also a gynecologist too, so I appreciated his upwards thoughts. He looked over my chart, he looked at me, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Well, I've got good news." And then there was a pause, a rather long pause, but for a short time there, you know, your mind switches to fantastic. We're all good. But he looked back down at the chart. He looked back at me and he said, "And I've got bad news." Well, then my heart sort of sunk. In a way, I sort of got a little ticked off, because it took a while for him to get to that point. You know? But then he proceeded to say, "Which would you rather hear first? The good news or the bad?" There was a pause, and before I could even open my mouth, because of course, being me, I wanted to know the bad news first. Well, he didn't even let me tell him my choice before he came out. "Well, the bad news is you got cancer. And the good news is it's treatable." And then he went on to explain. And he went over the lab results. And of the lab results, they took 14 samples. Yes, they did. And I've got the lab report right here sitting with me. And when we get to where we're going, I'll go through it in a little more in-depth detail. But, as he explained, they took the 14 samples, and all were fine to the very last two. Yep, it's always the last one or two that seem to get you. And like I say, I'll go over that when we get to where we're going, because I wanted to go to a peaceful place. And this is one of my special places that I don't go to often, but I like to go to when I'm deep in thought. And one of the reasons you haven't seen me on not only has been because I have been, rather weak and lethargic, fatigued, compounded with the remnants of getting over the biopsy that drains you, but then the UTI. And if you've ever had a severe UTI, you'll know how fatiguing they can be. So yeah, that was the main reason. And plus, I dove into reading all about my results, treatments, longevity, all the things that you'd want to know. Even down to diet, what you want to eat and what you don't want to eat. I've looked into all of that over the past 4 days. I've spent quite a few hours reading away. Yes, I have. So I'm not going to say I'm any expert, by no means, but I will say this: I know a whole lot more about prostate cancer, treatment options, diet, herbal, and what have you. And here we are. It's a beautiful place. We're on the Yates Reservoir, or as we fondly call it, the Middle Pond, formed by the Yates Dam. Actually, I live, as you can see, because we just took the ride in real time, I live close to 3 lakes. Tallahassee Lake, which is the Thurlow Reservoir, the Yates Reservoir, which we call the Middle Pond, and of course the second largest lake in the state, Lake Martin. You might have heard of it, because once upon a time, Lake Martin was the largest man-made lake in the U.S. It didn't last long because they built Lake Mead. So there was that. But anyway, let's get into the results. And I got it here, and this is from Alabama Pathology Associates. And they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regions. In the first region, they've got as A, and that was at the right base of the prostate. Prostate, right base, biopsy, benign. They took 2 samples. Then they went to B, which is the prostate, right middle, biopsy, 2 samples, and again, that was benign. Each of these areas were sampled twice. They come down to region C, prostate right apex, benign again. Things are looking up. Then they came to region D, which is the prostate left base. 2 samples were taken, and they were benign. Then they went to region E, prostate left middle, biopsy. 2 samples taken, both were benign. They proceed to region F, which is the prostate left apex, biopsy. Both of those samples were benign. But then they get to the last region that they were going to sample. And this was the prostate lesion biopsy. And as many of you know, have been with me a while, I had an MRI of my prostate some months back. I think it was November. I don't remember the exact date. And it was during that MRI that a lesion or a mass, possible tumor, was found in my prostate. And that's what made it absolutely clear I had to have a biopsy. So my biopsy wasn't off a high PSA score. Now, the high PSA score I had was a 10 to 11, which is really high. And that's what prompted my doctor, my personal physician, to refer me to a urologist. And that's how this whole process started. But anyway, they get to the prostate, the lesion, now known as a tumor, and they took 2 samples, and both of them came out cancerous. And what it says here is a prostatic endocarcinoma with a Gleason score of 3 plus 7, 3 plus 4 equals 7, so it's got a total Gleason score of 7, in a grade group of 2. Percentage of pattern 4 present, 5%. Percentage of pattern 5 present, non-applicable. Percentage of prostate tissue involved, 10%. So 90% of the prostate was cancer-free. Here again, the number of tissue samples involved were 2, and that's what they evaluate. Now, the way they judge and class prostate cancer is according to the Gleason score. Not so much by stages as what other cancers are rated. But, yeah, I have cancer, and 10% of my prostate is involved. So, you can look into the Gleason score, but a Gleason score of 3, which one of the samples was 3, means it's slow growth. And then the second sample had a Gleason score of 4, which of course means it's moderate growth. And then they add them both together to give you a total Gleason score of 7. So there's all that. So anyway, we moved on from there to treatment options. And the first thing he brought up, which I was rather okay with, was just surgically remove the prostate and be done with it. We already know the cancer is contained within the prostate. It is not spread to the adjacent tissues, bone, or lymph nodes. That's been verified by an MRI. So that's all good news. In other words, it hasn't metastasized. So he recommended surgery, and I said I'm okay with that. But then he asked another question. How many abdominal and lower abdominal surgeries have you had? And I told him I've had quite a few, which relates back to a couple of accidents I've had in my life. So he asked me to stand up and pull my shirt up so he could check it out. And when he did, and he saw the scars, he said, "Put my shirt down. It's obviously surgery is not an option for you." And my main scar runs from my scrotum all the way to the base of my neck. Yep, I was opened up the whole way. And I've had other surgeries down there for intestinal issues. There was a lot of the main accident in 1989 messed me up really, really bad. A lot of internal damage that they had to go in and repair. And then I had another one in 95 with resulting damage too. And there's a lot of mesh and other stuff all in that area that he's a surgeon too, my urologist is, that he just can't deal with. So we went on to the best options based off of that, and he said that would be hormone and radiation therapy, which have good results most of the time. And since mine was caught rather early, there's hope. that I'll be just fine. But the hormone therapy, if you don't know about it, that's where you take a hormone shot depending on the results, every 2 to 3 months. And that drives your testosterone down. Because what they found is the cancer in the prostate is fed by testosterone. So they want to lower that level to slow or eliminate the growth, if they can. Then there's radiation. And unlike in many years past, they've got new techniques. Now they use directed beam radiation treatments, which for me will be focused right on that tumor, guided by an MRI. I've checked into all of this over the last 4 days. So that's going to be the treatment that most likely is going to be recommended to me when I go to see my radiation oncologist, which that appointment is at 1 o'clock on May the 29th. That'll be my initial appointment and consultation with him, and I'll learn a lot of things there, like based on what he sees. And I'm sure there's going to be another MRI for him all in this too. So he has it on record. He'll take a look at it, and then he'll come back with the course of treatment. Now, based on what I've read, radiation treatment, the preferred standardized treatment is radiation given in small doses every day. Now, they also got other ways they can approach it. They can give stronger doses, less times a week than that, depending on the severity, the size of the tumor, and the growth. They can even plant radiation, what they call radiation seeds. And these are some type of material, they call them a radiation seed, that's implanted into the tumor and gives off radiation at some level, and it decreases over time. Another way is they can insert a catheter and direct the radiation in that way. I don't know whether that's liquid form or how they do it, but that's pretty much the synopsis of how you can get your radiation treatment. Chemotherapy is not recommended for prostate cancer unless it metastasizes, and it's in your lymph nodes, your bones, and surrounding tissue. Which, like I say, on the upside of all this, I don't have that to worry about right now. So, that's where we're at. And we won't know any more till I go on the 29th. And of course, I may be scheduled for an MRI. I might not know exactly where we're going with this until sometime after that. But this was a hard video to make. I know all of you were praying and hoping and sending your thoughts and prayers. And like I say, I appreciate all that. But don't be down. This is the path that God chose for me to take. For whatever reason, He chose me to take it. And I'm willing to walk it and do the very best I can. Like I said, I've been looking into diet, what to eat, what not to eat. Of course, I think that boat's already sailed, but it can't hurt. And there's herbal things you can take that I'm looking into that won't prevent it, because I already have it, but may help. And here's the key word when you're reading about all this, whether it's diet, herbal medications, or what have you, read very carefully. Because what I found, and now a whole lot of reading over the course of 4 days, and even the reading before, which I've done a lot, I've really poured myself into all this. I've got several hundred hours now and trying to educate myself. And the articles always say may. They don't say will. So when you're looking into these things, read carefully, and when they say may, understand they may help and they might not. In my mind, you read over the side effects, and if those are not extreme, hey, go ahead and try it, because it can't hurt. We're already there. So there's that. So look at that lake. It's just pristine. I almost thought about bringing a fishing pole down here with me, sitting right there out in front of the car, maybe pull the car up a little more right to the bank where I could lean on it and make some casts. One day I'm going to do that. But I know this, with the radiation therapy, there's going to be some fatigue. I've read about all that. And that's going to go on top of what I already have with the COPD. And then depending on how often I have to go, it's going to be dependent on just how much I can get done. But I will guarantee you this, folks. This little old man's going to do just as much as he can. So there's all that. And that's enough gloom. So yeah, I'm ready to head her on back. If you want to, we'll just take another ride, sort of relax. Let's not let Alice fall in the lake. That would be bad, wouldn't it? So we'll just take a little ride as we head back to the house. Somebody's out there fishing, and I'm proud for them. But if you can, and you're feeling down and a little low, may I suggest that you get in your vehicle, take a ride on the quiet side. Of course, now if you're living in the city or suburbs, maybe not. But if you're out here in the rural countryside like I am, as you can see, it's quite remarkable and beautiful. And it naturally brings your spirits up. And you cannot, in my mind, be any closer to God than out here in what He created. I don't think there's any place I'd rather be to talk to God than surrounded by His creations in nature. To me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it's where I felt His strongest presence all my life. And there are certain places in nature right around here where I feel Him the strongest I've ever felt Him in my life. It's like He's sitting right at my side. And maybe, just maybe, not that I'm special, maybe He takes out a little time out to sit at my side while He listens to all the prayers. So yeah, it's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. And emotionally, yeah, this took a toll. Like I say, this was not the path I would have chose. No, it was not. I'm just like all of you that were hoping and praying I'd be cancer free. Well, that's where my mind was leaning, though I didn't let it lean too hard. Because I knew it would be one of two ways. I was either cancer free or I was not. And my advice too is to prepare yourself for that eventuality. I've known so many people in my life that, yeah, they put all their eggs in one basket, all their hopes and dreams based on a certain outcome. And that outcome for whatever reason, whether it's health-wise, whether it's what have you, doesn't materialize. It just don't happen. And then they're just devastated. They're crushed. So yeah, now that y'all got the news, those of you who want to jump out, you can. The rest of you who'd like to take a ride and listen to the old rambling man, well, stay on inside. It won't be a long one, but I'm going to relax. I'm going to listen to Alice purr. I may even roll down the window and feel the wind in my hair. You see, it's the simple pleasures in life, if you take the time to enjoy them, that you'll find the most spiritual satisfaction. At least in my experience, it is. You know, I have long time ago given up on all the fancy things, the chase for money. Of course, right now, I wish I had some. Because that's another thing. These treatments aren't cheap. But we got to see about that too. We got to see just what the costs are and what we can do. My last name isn't Rockefeller. Or Rockefeller. Yeah, well, he was foul. So maybe that's why I called him Rockefeller. Yeah, and I'm no Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, or anything remotely close to that. No, I'm not. But I do know this. Through hope and prayer, and if it's God's will, we'll make a way. We surely will. Yep, and I even need to go to superfoods. And I've been reading about diet. And I'm going to be making some changes, but with me feeling rather wore out, I'm not at that point to start cooking up all the things that they say you should. If you look up any cancer diet, whether it's prostate or what have you, and I looked up, cancer diets for prostate cancer, and of course they say to eliminate red meat. And we all got to understand red meat means beef and pork. Yeah, look it up. Pork is actually a red meat. And you might say, oh no, it's the other white meat, Mr. Tom. No, that was just a marketing campaign. That's all it was, because all the grains they feed the pigs in commercial agriculture turn the meat a pale white. Where if you raise pigs naturally in pasture or forest settings and only supplement their feed with grain, you'll actually find, and you can see it here on YouTube because people do it, the pork turns red. But scientifically, pork is red meat, whether it appears white to you. So yeah, they say eliminate red meat, at the very least minimize it. And of course, with the prices of beef right now, I've definitely minimized a whole lot. And really, in all truth, never ate a whole lot of beef all through my life. So there's that. Then they tell you to eat high fiber. Such things as beans and lentils. And something that always comes up is cruciferous vegetables, such as broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale, collards, and all of that. And I do enjoy all that. I'm going to grow me some collards this year if I can ever get them in the ground. And I'm going to plant some kale seeds, and when they sprout and come up, I'm going to plant my kale. And I can buy some broccoli. I'm not big into cauliflower. But basically, eat more vegetables. And the ones with more color, the better, because that's got those anthocyanins in it. Antioxidants are more prevalent. And all of that. And of course, reduce or eliminate sugar from all my readings about different types of cancer. Cancer loves sugar. Of course, as you know, because many of you ask, well, Mr. Tom, why didn't you buy no sweets? Yep, I'm just not much on sweets. So there we have all that. So I'm looking into diets. I'm looking into herbs. I even bought some Essie capsules because a viewer, and if you're looking through the comments of the last video, you'll see someone recommended this Essie drops to me. And of course, I didn't get the drops, but I got the capsules, 1,350 milligrams of capsule. I thought, after looking over the side effects and what have you, it couldn't hurt. And I also know from working with other cancer patients in the past, there's another herb called astragalus that helps too. And I actually keep that on hand. So yeah, we'll be doing that too. Coffee is preferred drink. So is green tea. And I have that on hand. And something I've been doing, they say pomegranate juice, cranberry juice. Well, I've got that on hand. Been drinking that a lot. And all of that such. I don't think there's a miracle cure out there in herbs in any amount we can take. That's just my learnings over all these years of looking into herbs. You got to take a lot and let them build up. I'm fairly knowledgeable in herbs. I've studied them since 1989. Now, I've recommended a lot of them to many of people going through similar things, cancer and what have you. So hey, let me get you all out, and we'll say goodbye. So y'all, I hope that wasn't too depressing and too much doom and gloom. I'm not depressed. Now, it does weigh on your mind. But to know if we'll get through it, we got to go to it. And that's my mindset. We got to do whatever we can and whatever it takes. So hey, until the kitty crew, you know them all, Cleo, Speedy, Spooky, which is on the front porch with his sore leg. Yeah, I checked it, it's not broken, but we'll get him to the vet come Monday for sure. He's done this before. He gets up in trees and then he tries to be Superman and jumps out. And he's a big cat too. He weighs a lot. So we'll get him all checked out and get him fixed up too. And of course, you know, there's always little Gracie, princess of the house, and she's just as adorable and loving as she can be and stays close to Papa. I guess she knows things just aren't right. And I've had a visit by my daughter, my son, several times. The whole family knows all about this. And they're for me if I need it. And I know I'll be in your thoughts and prayers. And we thank you. It's greatly appreciated. So hey, y'all take care out there. Stay safe. And as always, may God bless you too. And do the best you can with what you got. And hey, you know we all love you. And we're glad to see you that you stopped by. But I gotta run. So now, it's goodbye for now. I may pick up something to eat. I don't know. I'm in the car. Maybe I will. Oh, later on.